Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Ayunis Fidya binti Muhammad Asmadi. My matrix number 1833045.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zaimatul Afika binti Zulkifli and my matric number is 1833050.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zaimatul Arifah binti Zulkifli, matric number 1833053. Today we will going to present our topic, which is Shariah Advisory Council of BNM.
Alright, before we go through in detail about the Shariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia, we must know first about the background of SAC. The background of Shariah Advisory Council. First, the history of establishment of Shariah Advisory Council are occurred in line with the development in Islamic financial system, especially the Islamic financial institution itself. As we know, the beginning of formation of Islamic finance in Malaysia was began in 1963. It was implemented by the Lembaga Urusan Tabung Haji, which it is an Islamic money saving institution in preparation for pilgrims to perform the Hajj in Makkah. The establishment of Lembaga Urusan Tabung Haji, or we call it as the Lembaga Tabung Haji, has proven the successful of Islamic financial system, which has a good response and a high demand by the general public in Malaysia. Second point, the successful of Islamic financial system has prompted the government to establish the National Steering Committee of Bank Islam. The National Steering Committee of Bank Islam has been given a mandate to examine the legal, religious, and operational aspect of setting up an Islamic bank. Next, on 5th of July 1982, the National Steering Committee of Bank Islam has submitted the proposal for consideration by the Cabinet, including the establishment of Shariah Advisory Council. Based on that, it is clear that the recommendation of National Steering Committee of Bank Islam, the foundation and formation of SAC in Malaysia is seen to move in line with the development of Islamic bank. Islamic financial regulatory system in Malaysia has been controlled and monitored by the Shariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia. SAC of BNM has been established in May 1997. It was the highest Shariah authority in Islamic finance in Malaysia. The members of SAC are comprises of prominent Shariah scholars, jurists and market practitioners, and members that are qualified individuals and have the vast experience on banking, finance, economics, law and Shariah application, and particularly in Islamic economics and finance. At the beginning of establishment, Shariah Advisory Council has three main objectives. First, Shariah serves as the highest body to advise the BNM on matters of Islamic banking and takaful business in Malaysia. Second, SAC has role to play in coordinating Shariah issues in Islamic banking and finance. Third, Shariah Advisory Council has role of analysing and evaluating Shariah object related to the new scheme or product submitted by the Islamic banking and financial institution. Okay, now we move to the establishment of Shariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia. As we know, every Islamic financial institution, whether the Islamic bank, Islamic subsidiary, Islamic banking scheme, Islamic window, or even the takaful operator, they need to set up their respective Shariah or Shariah Advisory Council committees. The establishment of Shariah Advisory Council is based on three acts. First, the Section 124, Subsection 7 of Banking and Financial Institution Act 1989, WAFIA, or the other name is Act 372. Under this section, BNM is required to establish SAC, which consists of members who shall have the functions, powers, and the duties as determined by the Bank Negara Malaysia. This Act is amended in 1996. However, in 2003, the SAC is no longer regulated by the Act 372. It is because the Central Bank of Malaysia Act 1958, revised 1994, was amended. Later, the SAC was fully regulated by the Act 519. This amendment has been implemented by the government to streamline and strengthen legal framework of SAC in this country. Section 16B of Central Bank of Malaysia Act, revised 1994, or the other name is Act 519. In this section, it provides the matter relating to the establishment, procedure, functions, reward, allowance, secretariat, when M's need to consult with SAC, reference and legal aspect related to the Shariah rules, open references made by courts and arbitrators and prohibitions related to the SAC. Subsequently, in 2009, the Parliament of Malaysia has passed the Central Bank of Malaysia Act 2009, or the other name we call it as Act 701, which was replaced the Act 519. Act 701 was gazetted in 3rd of September 2009. This Act makes continuous improvement to the legal aspect in regulating to the SAC. Last but not least, the establishment of SAC is also concluded in Section 51 of Central Bank of Malaysia Act 2009, or we call as Act 701. Based on this provision, the bank may establish an SAC on Islamic finance, which shall be the authority for ascertainment of Islamic law for the purpose of Islamic financial business. Besides, under this section, SAC are allowed to determine their own procedure in terms of carrying out their duties and responsibilities.
Next, we go to the function of SAC. In Malaysia, Shariah governance that has been introduced has two stages, which consist of SAC in Bank Negara and Shariah Committee established in each Islamic financial institution. This function has been stated in Central Bank of Malaysia Act 2009, CBMA, under Section 52. As we can see in the slide, the first function of SAC is to ascertain Islamic law on any financial matter and issue a ruling upon reference made to it in accordance with this part. This can be explained that SAC has been given a mandate to determine Islamic law for Islamic banking business, takaful, Islamic finance, Islamic financial development, or any other business based on the Shariah principle under the supervision of Bank Negara Malaysia. The second function of SAC is to advise bank on any Shariah issue relating to Islamic financial business, the activities or transaction of the bank. The word bank in the Act can also be referred as BNM. SAC can give advice to bank because SAC is the reference body and advisor of Bank Negara Malaysia, and it is responsible for verifying all Islamic banking and takaful product to ensure that all the products are compliant with Shariah principle. The third function of SAC is to provide advice to any Islamic financial institution or any other person as may be provided under any written law. In this case, SAC is responsible for advising financial institutions such as commercial bank that want to issue new banking product whether it complies with Sharia requirements or not. In addition, SAC should provide advice on Islamic banking and takaful product. SAC is responsible for studying the validity of conventional instrument practiced by banking and takaful institution based on Sharia perspective. SAC ini bertanggungjawab untuk mengkaji kesahihan instrumen konvensional yang diamalkan oleh institusi perbankan dan takaful yang ada di Malaysia ini berdasarkan perspektif Syariah. The study focus on three things, which is structure, mechanism, use of instrument, whether there are principle that contradict Sharia principle or not. Apart from that, SAC also need to provide advice in conduct of takaful. Antara tugas SAC ini adalah advise and monitor the handling of takaful fund so that it invested in instrument required by Sharia only. Thus, in the event of any payment to participant atau peserta yang perlukan bantuan, the money is come from halal sources and not generated from any element that is forbidden in Islam. The function of SAC is such other function as may be determined by bank itself.
Okay, this is current SAC member since 2019 to 2022. First, Dato' Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar, Executive Chairman of Amani Group. SAC member since 1997. Qualification that he have: Bachelor in Jurisprudence, UM 2002. PhD from University of Andrews, United Kingdom, 1993. And Bachelor in Shariah, University of Kuwait, 1988. Second, Prof. Dr. Ashraf Muhammad Hashim, Chief Executive Officer of Israel Consulting. SAC member since 2010. Qualification, PhD in Islamic Law, University Birmingham, United Kingdom, 1993. 1999, Master in Fiqh and Usul Fiqh, University Jordan, in 1995. Bachelor in Shariah, Islamic University of Madinah, Saudi Arabia, 1991. Third, Prof. A. Aziz A. Rahim, former Chairman of Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission, SSC member since 2019-2016, qualification, Master in Law, King College, University of London, 1986, and Bachelor in Law, Hons, UM, 1981. 4. Prof. Dr. Muhammad Akram Ladif, Executive Director of the International Shariah Research Academy for Islamic Finance, ISRA, SAC member since 2008, qualification, PhD in Islamic Finance, University Scotland in 1995, and Bachelor in Islamic Jurisprudence and Legislation, University of Jordan in 1989. Next, Professor Dr. Engku Rabiah Adawiyah Engku Ali, Professor Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, International Islamic University Malaysia, SAC member since 2006, qualifications, PhD in Securities Legislation, University of Aberdeen, United Kingdom in 1998, Master in Comparative Law, IIUM 1991, and Bachelor in Law, IIUM in 1990. 6. Encik Burhanuddin Luqman, Head of Takaful Unit, International Shariah Research Academy for Islamic Finance, ISRA, SAC member since 2013, qualification, Master in Shariah in Al-Bayt University, Jordan, 2000, and Bachelor in Shariah, University of Madinah, Saudi Arabia, in 1993. 7. Dr. Marjan Muhammad, Head of Research Qualified Assurance Office, International Shariah Research Academy for Islamic Finance, ISRA, SAC member since 2019, qualification, PhD in Islamic River Knowledge and Heritage, IIUM 2016, Master in Islamic River Knowledge and Heritage, IIUM 2001, and Bachelor in Islamic River Knowledge and Heritage, IIUM 1998. 8. Encik Zainal Abidin Jamal, Founder and Senior Partner of Zainal Abidin Co. Advocators and Solicitors, SAC members from 1st June 2020, qualification, Bachelor of Laws, University of Singapore in 1979, and the last is Sahibus Samahan Datuk Dr. Haji Anha Haji Opir, Deputy Mufti of Selangor, SAC member since 2019, qualification, PhD in Sharia, the World Islamic Science and Education, University Jordan, 2015. Master in Sharia, Cairo University, 2006, and Bachelor in Sharia, Al-Azhar University in 1999.
Next part, we go to the statutory provision relating to SAC. All institutional activities that conduct Islamic banking business are obligatory to comply with Sharia. It's clearly stated in Islamic Financial Service Act 2013, IFSA, under Section 28, Subsection 1, which is duty of institution to ensure compliance with Sharia, stated that an institution shall at all times ensure that its aims and operation, business, affairs and activities are in compliance with Sharia. It's obligatory to comply with Sharia, also stated in Section 28, Subsection 2 of IFSA. Statutory provision related to SSC, as we can see in slide, is referred in Part 6 of Central Bank of Malaysia Act 2009. It starts from Section 51 to Section 58. First provision, we go to the Section 51. Establishment of Sharia Advisory Council has been provided under Section 51, Subsection 1 of CBMA. It stated that the bank may establish a Sharia Advisory Council on Islamic finance, which shall be the authority for ascertainment of Islamic law for the purpose of Islamic financial business. The word bank in Act referred to Central Bank Malaysia, or in Bahasa Malaysia, it is called as BNM. SSC is an authority to ensure Islamic law for purpose of Islamic banking or finance business. While in Section 51, Subsection 2 of CBNA, it stated that SSC can determine its own procedure in performing its duties. Second provision is Section 52. In this section, it provides the function of Shariah Advisory Council. Among of its functions is to issue decision and advise BNM and other Islamic financial institutions on every Sharia issue related to Islamic financial activities. There are 4 functions of SSC that stated in CBMA 2009 as we can see in slide 4. Third provision is Section 53. This section provides the appointment of members of the SSC. It clearly states who is eligible to be appointed as a member of the SSC and its necessary qualification. SSC member should be appointed among people with expertise and experience in various fields including banking, Islamic financial law, and other related fields. This section also involves the process of appointing SSC member, which can be seen in the Act CBMA 2009, which is the appointment of such member should be made by Yang di-Pertuan Agong YDPA on the advice of Minister of Finance on the list of recommendation by BNM. Fourth provision is Section 54. This section provided for the Secretariat to the SSC. It stated that BNM can establish any secretariat or committee that can assist the functioning of the SSC. BNM also reserves the right to assist the SSC. The description of SSC Secretariat can be seen in CBMA Act 2009.
Another provision relating to the SSC is Section 55, which is requirement to the BNM and IFIS to consult the SEC. The bank shall consult the Shariah Advisory Council on any matters relating to the Islamic financial business, purpose of carrying out its function of conducting its business, of affair under this Act, or any other written law in accordance with the Shariah. Second, any Islamic financial institution in respect of its financial business may refer for a ruling and see the device. In Section 56, which is reference to the SEC for ruling from the court or arbitrator, where in any proceeding relating to the Islamic financial before and any court or arbitrator, any question arises concerning of Sharia matters, the court or the arbitrator, as the case may be sure, refer such question to the SEC for its ruling, take into consideration and any published rulings of the Sharia Advisory Council. Another section is Section 57, which is effect of Sharia ruling made by SEC. Any ruling made by SEC pursuant to a reference made under this part should be binding on the Islamic financial institution under Section 55, and the court or arbitrator making reference under Section 56. And the last section is Section 58, which is the SEC ruling prevails, where the ruling given by SEC or commit constituted in Malaysia by an Islamic financial institution is different from the ruling given by SEC. The ruling of the SEC shall prevail.
Okay, now we can move to the liability and responsibility of Sharia Advisory Council. Even though the SAC has the absolute power and immunity in matters relating to the business and Islamic banking or financial affairs throughout the hegemony, excellence and superiority, it is submitted that the SAC is still subject to the legal duty to act fairly and reasonably in carrying out their powers. It is proof that if SSC fails to carry out their statutory duties fairly and reasonably, the latter must have the cause of action and standing law against SSC and entitled to a certain legal and equitable remedies. Maksudnya walaupun SSC ni dia ada kuasa yang mutlak dan juga immunity dalam perkara berkaitan dengan bisnes, Islamic banking dan juga financial affairs ni tadi, dia masih dikenakan tindakan undang-undang sekiranya dia tidak melakukan tanggungjawab ataupun kewajipan dia tadi secara adil dan munasabah. Next is fiduciary duty. It has been submitted that the obligation of Sharia Advisory Council to be prudent in carrying out its duty under the IFSA and CBMA is a fiduciary duty. The SSC should ensure that result of its decision in business and Islamic banking or financial affairs will be able to benefit the interest of public customer and should not cause the unnecessary and unpleasant problems to the interest of customer. It can be seen the court also held the discretionary power of state authority or public body is not infinite based on the responsibility for well-being and trust of its people stakeholder. Next, it is also submitted that the fiduciary obligation on part of SAC in exercising its statutory power in its business and affairs of its Islamic banking and finance. Accordingly, SAC must obtain the necessary advice and views from all relevant parties and comply with the advice and views before approving any Islamic banking and financial product recommendation. Salah satu cara dia adalah SAC must decide prudently in reasonable manner, supported by the advice of appropriate community segment before they approve the Islamic banking and financial product. Okay, next is legitimate expectation. The principle behind this is based on the duty to act fairly as a necessary element or equivalent to good governance or good administration. Therefore, by the following principle of law, the aggrieved customer in Islamic banking and financial product have legitimate expectation either procedurally and substantively. SAC as the public authority should approve appropriate and suitable Islamic banking and products that can also provide reciprocal protection to the rights and interests of customer stakeholder. Next, it is submitted that the foundation for creation of procedural and substantive legitimate expectation of public to the SAC is derived from the objective of the Shariah itself, which is the Maqasid Shariah. Objective of Maqasid Shariah ni adalah is to protect the right of people and interests of people in terms of life, wealth, and inherent responsibility attached by the public authorities to carry out their duties for social justice, public good, and public welfare, and so on.
Okay, next we go through to the advantages of SAC. First, be able to develop and introduce Islamic capital market instrument. This is why the SAC has taken one approach from the point of view because this can be proved by the rule of SAC, which is to list Sharia compliant securities. This list is important in helping Islamic investors identify securities that are in line with Sharia principle and at the same time increase their confidence without any hesitation in making investment. Second, promote financial stability and Sharia compliance as well as protect the right and importance of Islamic financial services and products. This is based on Section 51 of the Bank Negara Act 2009, which is responsible for ensuring that Islamic law for the purpose of Islamic financial business is implemented. In the meantime, the main functions of the SAC is also to provide advice to financial institutions whether it complies with Sharia requirement or not.
So, as conclusion, it can be concluded that the role of SAC is very important in creating Islamic financial and banking development in Malaysia. With the existence of SAC, it clearly helps to further launch the process that take place in matters of Islamic finance and banking. Operation of Islamic financial institutions that follow the advice of SAC will be able to prevent the occurrence of three things, which is unclear things, operations, penindasan, and tyranny kezaliman, because their business is clean from elements that forbidden in Islam. Before we end this presentation, we have included a video link related to provide a better understanding of this topic. That's all from us. Thank you.